on Akofa Dakwa, who is the Chief Risk Officer for Bank of Africa. Now, a little bit about Akofa. Please stand by me. Akofa is currently the Chief Risk Officer and a member of the Executive Committee of the Bank of Africa. She's also a non-executive director and chairperson and board of Savvy Securities. She has over 15 years experience in the banking industry, and her expertise include enterprise risk management, liquidity and investment management, financial and economic analysis, asset and liability management, and financial market. I could go on and on and on. Akofa, you're a powerhouse. Please introduce the powerhouse for us. Thank you.
Today, I see that the organizers have taken this a notch further, and we are going to have an award ceremony as well. Today, the woman I'm about to introduce is a big deal, a very big deal. And I'm so happy to introduce her to you. So she is Mrs. Abena Osei-Poku, the Managing Director for Absa Bank Ghana Limited. Mrs. Abena Osei-Poku is responsible for driving a positive transformation, having successfully led Barclays' transition from a 100-year-old brand and household name into a new brand, Absa. Now we can see Absa is a household name, and kudos to her. Abena is very passionate about colleague empowerment, client experience, and devolved leadership. And this has enabled the bank to be the most profitable bank in Ghana, even during the transition. Prior to this, she worked at Absa in South Africa as Managing Director, responsible for the corporate and investment banking business in East and West Africa. Mrs. Osei-Poku has over 27 years of in-depth Pan-African experience from Standard Chartered Bank and Barclays Bank. She has held various leadership positions, including risk management, corporate governance, business management, strategy, client coverage, and change management. She also has broad board experience, having previously sat on boards in Telecommunications, Airtel Mobile Money Limited, in banking, Barclays Bank, in commerce, United Kingdom, and the Ghana Chamber of Commerce, and the hospitality industry as well, with Country Kitchen Limited. She is currently the Vice Chair for the board of the Ghana Stock Exchange and Chairperson of the Advisory Board of the College of Health Sciences, University of Ghana. In addition, she sits on the executive councils of the Ghana Association of Bankers and the National Banking College. She is an honorary member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers and an honorary fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana. Abena Osei-Poku is an economist. She holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Ghana, an MBA Strategy and Finance from the Manchester Business School in the United Kingdom, and has attended various leadership and other programs. Welcome, worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Mrs. Abena Osei-Poku. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome, Abena.
Thank you. We try to keep this on.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay. Thank you, Akofa, and good morning. Good morning, ladies and the gentlemen that joined us.
So, as I said earlier, today is a very exciting day for me, having to interview Mrs. Osei-Poku.
Please call me Abena.
Abena. Thank you. And I must say that I also feel a very heavy burden. I know that this discussion will reach thousands of people globally because we are in a digital age. And a lot of people admire her and aspire to reach the heights that she has reached. And so I need to get out all the tips from her today. Don't you agree with me? So I'm going to try to do my best at that by the grace of God. The first question I'll put to you, Abena. So globally, we know that when men come across as ambitious.
All right, so I think I'll start off, with a little bit of perhaps my story. So I'm the first of four girls, and growing up, my mother looked after her siblings, and my dad did not cease to remind me that my sisters were looking up to me. So I think that's when my leadership journey started. 1, unconsciously, 2, without the title, and 3, without the confidence, and 4, without the scrutiny. So, and I think most of us growing up, we learn and acquire a lot of leadership traits. And sometimes we just leave that at home when we are working, but I think we shouldn't. And that's why I mention this. So back to, my journey and how it started. So, and I think it's about 28 years now since I started working. No, since I became senior, I think. So I had just had my first child, came back to work, and the executive director of the firm that I worked for calls me and says that I'm being moved to a department called GSAM. At the time, it was Group Special Asset Management. And for me, it was like the proverbial archives. So if you are from archives, I'm not talking you down at all. I'm just trying to let you see how I took it, because I was in the corporate bank at the time as an assistant relationship manager, and I was looking forward to becoming a relationship manager because all my reviews were good. I go on maternity leave and come back and I'm told I'm being pushed, not even sideways, but to my mind backwards. I was furious, frustrated, disappointed. Obviously, a much younger version of myself, so very childish, as well. So after sort of ranting and raving for a while, I spoke to my support team. My support team starts from God, my husband, my mother, my sisters. At the time, my dad was also alive, so my dad as well. And they all kept saying that, oh, it's okay, you never know. My mother is super prayerful. Oh, God always has a way out. I'm thinking, this isn't the way. My husband also thinks that, in life, these things happen, you get over it. But I think after the initial setback, I immediately realized that it was an opportunity to shine. And I think our ladies who spoke mentioned that, because I immediately switched from being grumpy to seeing it as an opportunity to shine. So that's what I did. I learned, generally I'm relentlessly curious, so I learn a lot. Secondly, I actually have no issues calling anybody to teach me something. It doesn't matter what the thing is. Recently, I've told the gentleman I'm going to be taking some time off and spend a week in his office. And he's like, he can't let me come. And I said, I will come. Because he has something that I need to learn, regardless of what he does. So back to the story. So the learning, the seeing it as an opportunity, and then I decided to work with the team, so be stand out. You stand out. You're not just there. I think my namesake, Abena, spoke about capacity and confidence. For me, in addition to that, is commitment, collaboration, and contribution. Because if you do those 5, it doesn't matter who's looking at you. Because you really, even the naysayers are going to start thinking, my God, this one is different, whatever that means. So that was the stance I took. And I decided to also learn to work better with my line managers. It's one thing working well with your peers. It's another thing working with those that report to you. It's another thing working with those that you report to. So I learned to do all of that and to manage all the various stakeholders that I had. I was not interested in where I'd been put. I think that's a very important. I'd been assigned to a role that I had zero interest. So far as I was concerned, it was not doing anything for my career. But God always has a plan when you serve him, And later in life, I realized that was one of the best things that happened to me. Having said that, in 6 months, I was promoted to head that team in Ghana. And within 12 months, I was promoted to head the team in West and Central Africa. So at that time, I became a big woman. And all my other friends who were, when I came back from maternity leave, there's this gentleman I love to bits. He's also a CEO today, but I won't mention his name. And when I came back and this happened, I was talking to him and he said, "Oh, Abena, Osei." I'm sure he thought he was encouraging me. But for me, he was just, confirming what I thought, that I'd been sidelined because I'd had a baby. But later I realized that wasn't the issue. There was a very senior person in the group who had been to Ghana once and had identified me as a prospective leader and therefore thought that I don't have risk management experience and so put me in this team so I can learn that. But you see, because we don't communicate very effectively, I didn't know. So imagine if I'd left. By the way, I threatened to leave. Thank God I didn't leave, because in the long run, I think it's one of the things that has helped me most in life. So for me, I'm always looking for lessons, and one is no matter where you find yourself, make sure that you respond positively. Even if you don't like what has happened to you, your response makes all the difference. Secondly, you have to work hard. Hard work pays off. You've got to contribute. Even everybody should be like, wow, this person is making a difference here. Thirdly, build other people up. Success is a team effort. Only you can shine. It won't take you anywhere. You better help others and bring them along. And fourthly, you train others, and you're humble. You ask for advice. And overall, even on a bad day, you realize that it's not as bad because you're working towards a goal and with a purpose. In my case, I decided that even though I didn't like where I'd been put, I was going to shine, thinking that if I did, something good would come out of it. Eventually it did. Thank you.
Wow. Such an interesting journey. Lots and lots of takeaways here for me. To see every opportunity as an opportunity to shine. So whether you're a street cleaner or you're the CEO, do it to the very best of your ability and give yourself that opportunity to shine and take the learnings out of every journey. Thank you, Abena. Next, I would like to know, you've said a lot already about what your journey has been, how you've reached the heights you have attained so far. But can you tell us what is that secret? Is there a secret recipe to get into CEO, C-suite level, or what has been that defining moment for you, that crucible moment for you?
Thank you, Kofa. It's a very interesting question, this one. Generally, not career related. I think, success is not a mystery. I think the earlier panel spoke about some elements having a vision, a purpose, a plan, working for it, being prepared, to take the opportunity. Opportunity is not going to wait, for you when it comes knocking at the door. And we never know when it's going to come, right? So maybe the best way to illustrate this is to use a story. I like stories. Then it's easier for me to sort of communicate to you. So about now 9 years ago, maybe, I was invited to be assessed for a country MD, country CEO at Barclays Bank where I work. And the initial is a process. So the initial one was an assessment. I didn't even know I had to prepare for the assessment. So I just went in without any preparation. God knows what my results were. And then thankfully I still passed. And then I was flown to South Africa to have an interview, or the first set of the interviews. So I get to SA. By the way, there were 3 of us who were invited to be assessed to be CEO MD. My ex-managing director, Patience, who obviously got the role, a gentleman whose name I can't mention because like me, he didn't get the role, and myself. So anyway, I go to SA, sit in front of this Africa Regional HR Director and another lady who was taking the notes. I don't remember what her role was. So this gentleman, he was a British guy. You know, he starts off questioning me. I try and answer. I'm under no pressure, by the way. And then in about 20 minutes, it's supposed to be an hour, he says, you know, Abna, I don't think you're cut out for the CEO role. I think you're really top talent, but I would recommend that you seek broader roles in the CIB or the Corporate Investment Bank unit. Okay, so at this stage, I think my face just falls. I'm like, this is disappointing, you know? And the only thing I remember he said was, I have to learn to lead myself, to lead others, and then I'll lead leaders. And I was thinking, of course I'm leading myself, that's why I'm sitting here. Secondly, I run the Corporate Investment Bank in Ghana. God, I'm leading other people. But then that sentence never left me. So as usual, I call my support system, they encourage me, but I'm quite sad. Not sad just because I didn't get the role, but sad because he made me realize that I was nowhere near. It was almost like it was a mistake to have been shortlisted, was how he made me feel. So I left and I told myself, after the shock, when I flew back, I said, I'm going to do my own analysis. I said my own gap analysis, do my own due diligence. You know all the things you do for work, you've got to do it for yourself. So I found people that I know are very candid in feedback. And this is not a performance development, so they're not trying to help me so I get a bonus, if you know what I mean. So they are candid. So I have these conversations with them to try and understand what I'm good at, what they think I'm not so good at, what I need to change. And I did this, I chose about 5 people, different levels, some senior, some my peers, some junior. And eventually, when I got all that feedback, I did a number of things. One, I realized there were some very low-hanging fruit, some things I could change quickly. Second, there were some things I needed help on. As an example, I had to get a coach. So I got a coach. You know, I paid for a coach, some guy in the UK. I paid for a coach. And then I also got, I probably say a mentor, right, to the earlier conversation, even though I don't think we had more than 2 discussions, and none of them was more than 10 minutes, but they were very useful to me. And I chose 2 mentors, 2 people, one who had been a corporate and investment banker before but had become CEO, and the other who was a woman. The other guy was a man. The other was a woman, you know, who I met at some conference, and I spoke to her, and she was so willing. I mean, I even thought she was unapproachable. But actually, when I approached her, she was like, oh, wow, I'd like to help you, blah, blah, blah. So we got chatting, and we had only 2 conversations, but they were very useful. But the 2 things that I learned from this, you know, and some of the feedback can be tough. So you don't ask for feedback if you are not ready, you know, because some of them, you probably be upset, you know, and some you are thinking, how can this be feedback? I remember for me, 2 of the ones I found both annoying and funny at the same time was one that said, I look too young, and the other that said, I look too put together. I didn't even know how those 2 could be minuses. So to address the first one, I decided to be even nicer than I was, right? So I'd go out of my way to be nice to everybody and to be more friendly, which has helped me eventually now. Then the second one, to address the youthfulness and to put together one, I started wearing these bad weaves. So I look older. So actually, when I look at when I became CEO of Barclays, the picture was a very bad picture. Some old, very unflattering, grandmother-like wig. Because I didn't want anybody to say that, oh, the girl is so young and is going to be looking after Barclays. So later when I saw them, I said, oh my God, I shouldn't have done this. Because it's not about how you look. You see, that I think we should never focus on that, right? Do what you want as long as it's decent. But at the time, because I'd received those feedback before, I did not want that to be a minus. So I was like, bad weave, here I come, so I can look old. And then there's no issue around Abena can do the job. Because technically, professionally, everything, I'd gotten the job, right? I went through 8 assessments, and I did well in those. But why do I tell the story? Because it means whilst I wasn't ready 9 years ago, 3.5 years ago, when the role came, I had prepared. I had moved. There were times that I went for like I said, it was 8 assessments. One, there's so much I can say since most of you, I can see, are recording. But the feedback I got was like, wow, you really know what you're about. The same person who had been told that she couldn't do the job. So I think it's about knowing what you want and not giving up. You may not be ready today, doesn't mean you'll not be ready in a few years' time. As part of that preparation as well, to my joy, I also got 2 CEO roles, 2 local banks here, both of which, one I accepted, later I turned it down. The other I accepted, but later I turned it down. And 2 others where I was runner-up. So preparation really works. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't achieve, whatever your ambition is, because it's possible. But it means you've got to make some amendments. You've got to learn, unlearn, relearn, everything. And when you do that, the sky is the limit. You can be who God has created you to be, and what you've been yearning to be all these years. Thanks, Akopa.
Thank you so much, Abena. Very deep and insightful tips you're giving us today. So you've really shared what we need to do to get to that CEO level. I think this is very clear. We should have our purpose and our vision. We should lead ourselves first, lead others, and be ready to lead leaders. And we should be very intentional about our progress. We should do our gap analysis and know where our weaknesses are, where our strengths are, and make conscious effort, invest. So she had to pay for a coach in the UK, and we should do that. We should be ready to invest in ourselves, take that course, do what it takes to get to that level. So Abena, you have said a lot about tips for career success already. There are a lot of young people here. I would like you to tell us practically in the finance and banking industry, or finance investment banking industry, what does success look like, and what do you need to do to be successful?
Now I'm chairperson for the stock exchange, and before I got that opportunity, when I was nominated, even me, and I think I'm very confident, the first thing was, oh, shouldn't I go to somebody else? Can you imagine? So I think women need to encourage one another. And that's why being deliberate and intentional for me now is critical. So in the organization I work at, we have a women's network forum where we try and get the ladies from the most junior to the most senior to recognize that all the things we've spoken about, investing in yourself, blah, 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 networking, hard work, learning, but also put your hand up. It's not a big deal that you were not even shortlisted. Neither is it a big deal that you interviewed and didn't get the job. It's not a marriage. Nobody has left you. It's not even a divorce. So we have to do that. Please put your hand up. Because if you don't go for those interviews, how are you going to even prepare yourself? You should thank God you were shortlisted, first of all. Not everybody was shortlisted. So we have to be deliberate. I mean, I think I have realized now more than ever that a lot more women need somebody to hold their hand. Not because they are not good. They just need that support. So if there's one thing you remember from everything, please find one person and support them. I can't count how many people are here, but if each one of us supports one person, that'll be changing close to 100+ lives. And I think that will be impactful.
Wow. Thank you so much, Abena. We have really enjoyed this session. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to agree to do this. I know I follow you on social media, so I see that you're doing a lot of this already, mentoring other young people, even through your organization, the initiatives that you have. So thank you so much for this. Thank you for taking time off to be with us here today. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Akofa, and thank you to all of you as well. I've also enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the panel very well because I came in just at that time. But thank you all, and let's keep supporting one another. And if you send messages and we haven't come back, please send again.
Wow. Wow. Please do it louder for them. Louder for Abena and Akofa. Cool. So, keep clapping. But before you step off the stage, just one exercise. We are all going to undertake one simple exercise. Something Mrs. Abena has just told us to do. Put your hand up. All of you. Some are still down, even here, some are still down. Up, higher, I can't see. Higher. All right, get up and let me see your hands up. Higher. So that is the message from this summit. Put your hands up. You are good enough. Those who are up there aren't better than you. Just make sure your hand is up. And please let it stay there. You may sit down, but let your hands stay up. All right, thank you very much. We are extremely grateful.